Okay, let me try to control myself. Hello beautiful people of the internet, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Hannah if you're new here, and I'm so excited that you've joined me today. Today I'm going to be showing you all the books that I read in the month of March. I read a total of 15 books in the month of March, which is a pretty good reading month for me, but I also read a ton of graphic novels because I participated in the Let's Get Graphic Readathon this month, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. I don't read graphic novels as much as I should. I just absolutely adore them. So I think that's why my reading number has skyrocketed this month. But I will leave those towards the end because I know graphic novels are not everybody's cup of tea. I will start with the regular novels and then leave the graphic novels toward the end. So that being said, let's get started. The first regular novel that I picked up for the month was My Killer Vacation by Tessa Bailey. And I have been wanting to pick this one up for quite some time now because I read It Happened One Summer and Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey and really enjoyed those. So I usually know what I'm getting into when I pick up a Tessa Bailey. This one was not it for me. It was not it. Nowhere close, okay? I did not like this one. This book is following our main character, Taylor, and she takes a vacation to Cape Cod with her brother. And when they get to where they're staying, they end up finding a dead body. So the family of the deceased hires this bounty hunter instead of going through the law. That should be your first red flag right there. So they hire this bounty hunter to kind of investigate the case, and his name is Miles. And Miles ends up meeting Taylor, and they end up like falling for each other, which sounds really cute. I really was excited about the mystery aspect because I really love a plot-driven romance, but I wasn't really fighting for these characters. I wasn't really rooting for their romance. Tessa Bailey did something with the character of Taylor that I think can be done correctly and can be done very wrong. She basically made her out to be this helpless little girl who needs saving so desperately, and this cute little puppy dog sort of a thing, just following this big guy around, which, you know, don't get me wrong, that could be done well, but I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. And Taylor was kind of annoying because she stuck her nose in things that she probably shouldn't have, and she tried to like be a police officer in this case, and I just this wasn't it. There are other Tessa Baileys out there that I think you should pick up more than this one. And then okay, let me try to control myself. Final Offer by Lauren Asher. This is the third book in the Dreamland Billionaire series, and I will die on that hill. If you've not read this series, please stop what you're reading and go read it right this second. In this series, we're following 3 different brothers whose grandfather owned this amusement park. I kind of picture it as a modern day Disneyland. And so they're set to kind of inherit parts of the company. They're following each brother's kind of individual needs as well as their romantic endeavors. Oh my gosh. Can I just say how much I love this book? Okay, so in the other 2 books, the first book follows Rowan, the second book follows Declan, and this book follows Cal. And I saw Cal in the other 2 books, and I knew that he was going to be my favorite brother for sure, because he was always like a ray of sunshine. He was always bubbly. He was always giggly. I just knew that I would love him. And so when his book came out, I was beyond the moon. I was so excited. But this book is not what you think it is. So I went into this one thinking, oh, like Cal's gonna be a ray of sunshine, like just gonna be rainbows and butterflies and unicorns the whole time. No ma'am. No ma'am. That is not it. Basically, this book follows Cal and Cal's childhood best friend, lover, Elena, and they are both set to inherit this house from Cal's grandfather. But the deal is that Cal and Elena had a falling out. They had been together and they had a falling out, and so they're not really on speaking terms. They're not really getting along, and they're gonna have to try and figure this out. Cal is very sunshiny, very laughable, very happy on the outside, but this book dives into what happens behind closed doors and what he's really dealing with on the inside. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Please search up trigger warnings because this does have to do with alcohol abuse and drug abuse to an extent. So please look that up before you go into this one. I knew that going in this, that Cal's gonna be my favorite brother. And he still is. I think my favorite book though is the first book, The Fine Print. I think that's my favorite story, but Cal is definitely my favorite brother. I gave this a whopping 5 stars. And then I just completely fell off the wagon. I went down this rabbit hole and continued to tread, okay? So I started the Never After series by Emily McIntyre. So the first book is Hooked, the second book is Scarred, and the third book is Wretched. And I read all 3 of those back to back. I listened to them, and I would definitely recommend that if you're going to pick this up, that you listen to them. So good, so good. So basically the Never After series is kind of a dark romance Disney retelling sort of a thing, like where the villain gets the girl, and that should be enough, my friends, to convince you to pick these up. So the first book, Hooked, is by far my favorite. If you're okay with dark romance, if you're okay with, you know, all the trigger warnings that come with that, I would definitely recommend Hooked out of any of the ones in the series. You can definitely pick them up. You don't have to read them in order. I think they're standalones. I don't think that they linked together in any way. But if you read any of them, let it be this one. This one, we're following our main character, Wendy, as her father works kind of in the drug dealing business and has a lot of enemies. So she goes into this bar one night and she meets this guy named James, who also has the nickname Hook. I mean, come on. So this one is a Peter Pan retelling, obviously. And Hook falls for Wendy like right off the bat. He is determined to kind of make her his, and oh my gosh, I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna tell you a whole lot about these because I think you should just go into these blind. I don't think that you should know a lot about these because I didn't, and I think that just added to my enjoyment. So yes, this was definitely a 5 star. The next book in the series that I also read was Scarred by Emily McIntyre as well. This one is a Lion King reimagining, which I went into this one kind of skeptical because I was like, how are you gonna do that? But basically, we're following the Fossa family, who is a rich royal family, and the king of the Fossa family ends up dying. His eldest son is set to run the kingdom. The eldest son's name is Michael, and the youngest son is named Tristan. So Michael has to have a wife, and they find a woman named Sarah. And Sarah is set to be Michael's wife, but here's the thing. Tristan Fossa falls for Sarah, and throughout the book, maybe Sarah falls for him as well. It's not fair. It's not fair to follow Hooked, okay? There's no way that this book was going to trump Hooked, but it was still really good. The third book in the series that I read was Wretched, or Wretched, I'm not really sure. But this one wasn't my favorite. It was a solid 3. Just because I'm not ever gonna think about it again. Like, I enjoyed my time reading it, but I'm not gonna dwell on it. So basically, again, this is a dark romance series, so there's a lot of drug dealing going on. And this one in particular, we're following a drug dealing family business. There's this father and his daughters that own this business, and one of the daughters' name is Evelyn, and Evelyn is kind of the rough around the edges, get things done sort of a girl, like even if it, you know, causes murder, like she's ready to roll. Next thing she knows, her father hires this rookie sort of a thing to come on and be trained and kind of know the ropes. And what he doesn't know and what she doesn't know is that Nick, the new hire, is a DEA agent, which means that he is a federal officer trying to shut their business down. And what they were not prepared for was Evelyn and Nick falling for each other. Like, the federal officer is falling for the drug dealer that he's supposed to be taking down. It was good. It was good. I'm not gonna sit here and lie and tell you that it wasn't good. It was good. Okay, it was really good. It just wasn't my favorite. Again, it's not fair to follow Hooked, okay? She should have wrote these out of order and maybe I would have enjoyed them more. But again, this is a top-notch series. If you are into dark romance, please go into it knowing trigger warnings. Absolutely phenomenal. And then we went downhill again. So the next book that I picked up was The Soulmate by Sally Hepworth. I've never read a Sally Hepworth, but I am thankful that I found out that she does not write thrillers. She writes like suspenseful novels, and I'm kind of glad that I knew that going in, because I would have looked at this completely as if it was a thriller. And so I'm kind of glad that I knew that going in. That being said, I did not like this one. I did not like this one. I did not like it. I was in it like for, I would say like 50% of the book. And then after, it took me like almost the entire month of March to get through this one. I'm not kidding. And the chapters in this one were so short, so it made no sense of why it took me so long. It was dragging. It was dragging for me. Like, I want things to happen and quickly. Like, I want to get there. I want to know who did this, what's going on, and it just dragged on forever. To me, it wasn't suspenseful. It was just kind of like dragging the story out completely. The Soulmate follows Gabe and Pippa, and Gabe and Pippa and their family live on this cliff called the Drop. And so they've built a house on this cliff and basically people are known to come there to jump. And Gabe, the husband, is very well known to be kind of like a savior, where he goes out there and talks to them and convinces them not to jump. So that is what he's known for. And basically this woman comes one day and she acts like she's going to jump, and Gabe goes out there and tries to convince her not to, but she does end up jumping. And nobody can understand why, and Gabe is acting really, really weird afterwards. And a lot of different things come up about this woman and how she was connected to Gabe. So it sounds good, right? Like the premise, the characters, like everything sounds intriguing. I definitely wouldn't go into it if that is a huge trigger warning for you. But I was kind of bored. Like, I hate to say that, but I was really kind of bored. I was like, okay, can we just please get this over with? Like, can you please just tell me what happened? And honestly, when I got to that part, the reveal and kind of the twist that happened, I was just like, okay, I could have guessed that. Like, I don't know. I have a couple of Sally Hepworth's other works, so I feel like I'm going to try her again, but I'm not 100% sure. The next two books that I want to talk to you about, Chef's Kiss. I'm so excited about these. This one I actually read at the beach. We just got back from the beach and we had a great time. But this one I took to the beach with me and finished it in only a couple days, and that is The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So I feel like I'm late to the game as far as this one, because everybody and their brother has read this one. Oh wait, I have this one. Oh, why was I showing you a picture when I had this? My gosh, get it together. Anyway, this one is following our main character, Avery Grahams. Avery is invited to this will reading of this man that she has no idea who it is, and she has no idea why she's been invited. So she gets there and things kind of go AWOL, because she is set to inherit everything this man owns, and she has no idea why. This gentleman that passed away has 4 grandsons, the Hawthorne brothers, and the Hawthorne brothers are dead set on figuring out why this random girl just came in and just stole their inheritance away. And so with Avery and the brothers, they are trying their hardest to figure out what kind of game that this old man was playing on them. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It was so good. I loved this one so much, because I think the reason that I loved this one so much is because I love the movie Knives Out. that is such a good movie, and that is like my whole personality. Okay, I love things like that. And this book reminded me so much of that movie. It was kind of like a big game of Clue. What you do need to know going into this one is that there is romance in it. She's kind of caught in a love triangle between two of the brothers, and I did not know that going in, and I enjoyed that. I know some people are kind of caught off guard by that, but I enjoyed it personally, and I'm kind of excited to see if she ends up with one of them. So I am definitely picking up the next book in this next month. Then I listened to my favorite book thus far this year, and that is The Giver of the Stars by Jojo Moyes. I have never read by Jojo Moyes before. I know she's pretty popular with, I think it's like Me Before You. I know she has like the book and the movie, but I've never read by her. This is my first. And let me tell you, this was such a surprise. So this one is set during the Depression. It is in Kentucky, and we're following our main character, Alice. And Alice is from England, but she comes to America and meets this guy named Bennett. And she ends up marrying Bennett, and he is from a wealthy family who owns a mining company. And his father is the owner, obviously, and his father is kind of a jerk. And his father ends up living with them after they get married, and he's just a class A jerk, okay? You need to know that, okay? You need to know that he's a jerk. After they get married, they are sitting in this town meeting, and this woman proposes the idea of a mobile library of carrying books like across on horseback to everybody who's not able to get out and go and buy their own books. So nobody is volunteering for this mobile library, and everybody's just kind of like looking at each other like pointing fingers like, you do it, I'm not doing it. And our main character, Alice, actually volunteers to work there. And I think what I loved most about this story is the friendship dynamic is top notch. Like, these women looked out for each other. They cherished one another. And it was just so admirable how much these women cared about each other, and how much they cared about their job, and how much they thought it was important. And just everything about this one was so good. If you get any of the books that I recommend to you today, please let it be this one. This one took me completely by surprise. I could tell you more about it, and I could tell you a little bit more about the characters, but I don't want to spoil anything, and I kind of want you to go in it blind, because I did, and I think that added to my enjoyment. So this one was a solid 5 stars, if not 6 stars. So that concludes all the regular novels that I read. Now we're going to get into all the graphic novels that I read. So the first one is Anne of Green Gables, a graphic novel adapted by Mariah Marston. So obviously Anne of Green Gables is one of my favorite stories of all time. I adore that book. I think it's like my favorite book of all time, if not my second favorite. And I knew I was going to love this. So, I mean, that's all you need to know about it. It's a story of Anne of Green Gables. I really did enjoy the color scheme and the pictures. I thought it added to the story really well, and you can't go wrong with this guy. The next graphic novel was a middle grade graphic novel, and that is Just Pretend by Tori Sharp. So this is a friendship story. This is a kind of coming of age story where Tori, our main character, is moving to this new town, into a new apartment, or a new school, and she's really trying hard to fit in, but she's finding it very difficult. And so she kind of turns to books and drawing to kind of escape reality and just kind of live in her own little world. A lot of us can admire that. So I liked this one. I don't think it's anything special. I gave it a 3 just because I enjoyed my time reading it, but I'm probably never going to think about it again. I think this is probably just going to be like a book that I reread every once in a while. Then I picked up the Tea Dragon Society series. I picked up books 1 through 3, and they were really, really simple to get through. They're very short, and so it wasn't anything at all. So basically these stories are about a Tea Dragon Society. And I really thought that it was so cool that all the characters kind of connect through all the books. And basically what a tea dragon is, it is a little dragon who has antlers, and they grow tea leaves on their antlers. And so every once in a while they harvest them and make tea. That is the cutest little story. I really, really enjoyed it. Then I read my favorite graphic novel of all time in this month, and that is Sheets by Rena Thumler. This is the same girl that this is the same girl that illustrated the Anne of Green Gables, so the art styles are pretty much the same, but this color palette, it's gorgeous. It's so gorgeous. So this one is following our main character, Marjorie, and Marjorie has just recently lost her mom. Her parents had run this laundromat, and her dad is kind of grieving really hard and not really doing anything at all. And so it's on Marjorie's shoulders to kind of run this laundromat. And one day she's just minding her own business when she is met with this little guy, and friendship ensues. This is such a cute story. It's such a sweet read, and I think that anybody would get enjoyment out of this one. The next graphic novel that I picked up was Cody by Jared Collum. So this one is following Katya and her Meemaw, and they live out in the woods. And one day Katya was in the woods and she comes across this bear, and he's in trouble. He's stuck underneath a tree. And so Katya goes back and gets her Meemaw, and they save this bear. And from there, Katya names this bear Cody, and he's kind of like her pet. He goes everywhere with her. But Katya ends up having to move to Seattle, and obviously you can't really take a bear with you to Seattle. So Cody is forced to stay, but Cody is not about that. He is not about to stay and watch his best friend leave. And so it's kind of his adventure trying to find Katya again. And it was such the cutest little friendship story. I loved it. And the last graphic novel that I picked up was Click by Kayla Miller. This is part of a series. It's a middle grade graphic novel. It was okay. It definitely wasn't something to write home about. I liked it, but it wasn't anything that was super phenomenal. So this one is following Olive, and Olive and her 5th grade class are having like a talent show sort of a thing, and they are asked to pick a partner. Well, everybody that Olive asks already has a partner and already has an act, but Olive does not. She doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know who to work with, what to do. And so she kind of just soul searches a little bit and she finds something that is perfect for her. But I'm not going to tell you what it is. Again, I thought it was okay. I enjoyed my time reading it, but it's not something that I think about all the time. So do with that what you will. And there you have it, beautiful people. That's it. That's all the books that I read in the month of March. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please let me know what your favorite book of the month was. Mine was definitely The Giver of the Stars. So leave me a star emoji if you got this far, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.